Ho ho ho. Merry Christmas. Tonight we saw the new Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson movie in what is sure to be a Christmas classic, Red One. Connor, what is the plot of Red One?
Red One is the newest film trying to be a Christmas classic. If you're a Christmas classic, Target will sell you every year. Except Target doesn't sell home media, so maybe Best Buy would if they still had home media. But Vudu and maybe a lot of streaming on like Amazon. The point is perpetual royalties, because they're gonna have to like make up a new type of plaque for how much money Mariah Carey has made out of All I Want for Christmas Is You. And I don't think Paul McCartney is doing too bad off of Wonderful Christmas Time. In fact, Wonderful Christmas Time is his most popular solo song, other than the song that he did with Rihanna and Kanye West, and his other song he did with Kanye West. Those are his top three. My point is, who else but the egomaniac Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson would want to make a lot of money off of a timeless Christmas classic? And what comes to be is a schizophrenic work. Chris Evans was a pudgy kid who doesn't believe in Christmas or some shit. And then The Rock is Santa's bodyguard. Santa Claus is kidnapped by Mad Men's daughter, who is an evil witch who used to get banged out by Krampus back in the day.
Yeah.
But she's like 900 in her real form. She's just pretending to be like 20. So they're like... Chris Evans is brought in on this because he hacked a database that showed his buyer, who is that weird looking guy from The League who's in a bunch of shit.
Yeah, Big Mouth himself, Nick Kroll.
Big Mouth. Yeah, Big Mouth is like, oh no! And then he finds, so the witch because of Chris Evans' hacking skills, was able to find the North Pole. So Chris Evans is detained by the paranormal department of paranormal shit in like a Men in Black moment, or like R.I.P.D. And then he gets brought on, and they basically, without a trial or anything, say we're gonna fucking kill you and cover it up CIA style if you don't help us out. So they equipped him with a weapon, and then they sent him to Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, who says, we gotta fight this witch so we can save Santa Claus. And the witch is like, I'm gonna put everybody in snow globes. And then they meet the brother Krampus. And then at the end of the movie, they get in an action movie fight, and Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson can turn to half his size like Ant-Man in that one scene where Ant-Man becomes little and goes to the elementary school.
Yep.
In Ant-Man 2. So the movie's pretty much Ant-Man in some ways.
Yeah,
there's some correlation.
Well, there's also the big superhero moment when Krampus turns good and comes in. It's like the Avengers moment.
Well, Krampus also... No, The Rock... Somebody had the fucking Hulk beats up Thor, or beats up Loki moment. I think The Rock beats up Krampus.
Yeah, he punches him with the robot arm or something.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. But anyways, Aiden, what were your thoughts on the most schizophrenic thing that has happened in 2024?
It's... It might be the second most schizophrenic thing in 2024 after Madam Web.
Yeah.
This movie...
Madam Web really got schizophrenic in the last, 10 minutes. That's where it really went wild.
Movie feels fake. It's like an SNL skit that they would make, where it's like Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson plays Big Elf Man, but it's cape shit. And the movie makes no goddamn sense. Ever. It's like... It feels like... It's the most 2009 movie to ever come out. It feels like if Michael Bay made a Christmas movie, but it's like... as badly written as like Transformers 2, where it's just like... It was made during the strike, so they just filmed a bunch of scenes and put them together later. because it is just baffling. Like, the movie starts with a 10-minute montage of Chris Evans being a bad guy to show how evil he is and mean. And he, like, wanders around kicking puppies and stealing candy from babies and, and smoking cigarettes in no smoking zones for 10 minutes to, like, Christmas music. And this is all build up to him hacking a satellite to find the North Pole. And there's schizo CGI action. And there's so many weird fucking moments, like, I don't even know where to start. I think it just kind of broke me when Big Mouth showed up, and then Big Mouth is like, he's just there for some reason. He's not all that important. And then before they get in another bizarre action scene where snowmen come out of the water and start attacking them, like, Nick Kroll is like hucking it up, and Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson turns into Ant-Man and starts kicking people in the balls. Like, he turns half his size, then punches them in the balls, and that's just a thing he can do. And he grows, and
they keep making, like, various cars out of Ferraris because they flew to a different location and realized Hot Wheels cars, because they realized it'd be cheaper to just, like, make up a reason they could just rent a different car and not have to put it in a crate and ship it across the
they
ocean.
probably got some nice advertising money from it too.
Oh yeah, they're like, we're gonna advertise for Hot Wheels Testarossa.
There's
Ferrari.
like a really,
it's a double dip ad.
There's a fucking bizarre scene at the start when Chris Evans is a little fat child, and he's trying to prove that Santa isn't real to all his cousins. And then at the end of the movie, after they save the day, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson looks at Chris Evans, and Chris Evans morphs into a little fat child. And The Rock is, like, blankly staring at him, like, his eyes are glazed over from the mushrooms.
Yeah, it looked like he was on, like, PCP in that scene.
And The Rock was apparently a nightmare on set, where he would just show up, like, 8 hours late and then piss in a bunch of bottles and then film his scenes wrong and leave. Which might have contributed to this, but I think it was kind of schizophrenically written. Otherwise, it's just a collection of things happening. They go to Krampus's house, and Krampus is like, you guys broke, like, the Geneva Convention or something, so I'm gonna gay rape The Rock. And then Chris Evans is like, no, don't do that, that'd be kind of gay. And then Krampus and The Rock punch each other for, like, 6 minutes, because they had to fill time. And then Krampus is like, okay, I won't gay rape you, I guess you guys can leave. And then the movie just continues, and then eventually it has to, like, come to some kind of arc where Chris Evans is a douchebag, and then his son is in one scene at the start, his Mexican son, that he has with Charlie's crush from Always Sunny, his blonde wife, and they have a little Mexican son, and he's like a bad dad, and then towards the end of the movie he's like, I'm really sorry for being a bad dad, so I'm gonna be a good dad now. And then the magic of Christmas helps them fight Sabrina, who turns into a giant monster that they punch with reindeer, and it's just,
Santa gets, like, pinned under his sleigh at one point, and there's, like, fires about to consume him.
Fucking such a bizarre collection of things. Honestly, we meant to review this a few days ago, and I think if we did, I probably would have remembered more, but it's all kind of been flushed from my mind. Because it's, like, generic The Rock. Like, it was directed by the fucking Jumanji guy. It's basically Christmas-themed Jumanji, where it's just a collection of schizophrenic ideas stacked on top of each other, but with a really bizarre Christmas theming. It's like, I don't even know. Like, when they find out Mrs. Claus is an imposter, there's, like, some schizo logic like my dad would have, where The Rock's like, Mrs. Claus said she was cooking macaroons, but Santa hates macaroons. I think Santa's underneath the North Pole getting gang raped. And then
They call it Santa.
and then they don't go to the North Pole anyway because Chris Evans gets sucked into a snow globe and gets teleported there for plot convenience.
Right.
But he
it
becomes
didn't
such
really
a good
matter
dad that he
they
frees
figured it
himself.
out. Well, it's one of those action movie tropes where it's like he kills so many fucking people and beats the fuck out of so many people that he's now cool, which makes up for him being an absentee father and felon, convicted felon.
Yeah. It's very bizarre. It's written by the guy who wrote Fast X and directed by the Jumanji guy.
Yeah.
It's an absolute nightmare of like it's an action movie with cape shit sensibilities and just a fucking
He's just cleaning his asshole.
That's how I feel about the movie too, buddy. It's awful. It's fucking awful. I don't know. Connor, what'd you think of the red one? The red one down.
I thought the red one was absolutely schizophrenic. Schizophrenic. It feels like something that somebody wrote down, like random scenes of in a fucking like college ruled one of those 65-cent notebooks you can get at like Walmart, and he just wrote it in like crayon, pen, and other utensils. And it's like at one point Chris Evans gets sucked into a snow globe because Mrs. Claus doesn't eat macaroons, and now he's a good friend of the sun. And then what if the witch wanted really bad to purify the world? And the only way to purify the world is to put the sinners in the snow globes, and the naughty list is longer than the nice list now. And he's probably the coolest hacker ever, and he runs around, and the Hot Wheels car becomes a Ferrari. Like, it sounds like
and then
something
the rocket sock of
immensely
robots beat up Krampus.
Yeah, it
And
sounds
Krampus
like something.
is like a weird gay sex rapist man.
Yeah, it's weird. It's one of those movies that is like, it makes no sense, and it makes sense that The Rock would choose this as his newest vehicle. And he said, well, we have to star across Chris Evans. And Chris Evans, like Robert Downey Jr., is like, fuck, I should have just kept ringing in the Marvel money. Because the problem is Chris Evans can get this shit. He's back to this shit. This is some shit he would have done before he was Captain America. And then he did the Captain America thing, and he's like, okay, now I'm going to be like a serious actor. And then the Russo brothers are like, do you want to star in a bunch of shitty serious movies? Because we can't make anything good. And then this feels like Chinese investors had Netflix or something, and then
it was originally supposed to be a Prime original.
Yeah, or one of those streaming services.
But yes,
you know, like a bunch of China, because like the production companies at the front, it's like Dwayne The Rock Johnson Enterprises or something, and then it was like Shi Yong Films, and it was Zing Zong. Okay, that might have been a little, but still, you get the point. It's like Fortune Cookie Productions and shit. Okay, I doubled down, but you get the point. It was a bunch of like out of touch Chinese investors that are like, yeah, I'm willing to spend $20 million on The Rock and $20 million on $50 million on The Rock and $20 million on Chris Evans, and then let it do the rest. And then The Rock was so roid raged, he was just pissing in bottles and running around set, doing whatever, being a dick, taking PCP in the emotional ass scene at the end. Chris Evans, like, could not give a fuck to try. I don't even think Chris Evans is that good of an actor. And, like, I mean, his whole thing is, like, dumbing down Captain America to be, like, emotionless, happy guy. Like, I don't think Chris Evans has ever been good at acting, per se. But I like him in some movies. And this is one of those movies where he's like, I'm a freaking tough guy, bro. It's like, it looks like you just fucking lathered yourself in moisturizer after working out for 9 hours. Like, trimmed your eyebrows or something, bro. You don't look like some sort of tough guy. I'm honestly shocked they didn't, like, put him in, like, tapered jeans and a leather jacket like they used to do with Elvis Presley back in the day.
Yeah.
Prove that he's a tough guy. But he, like, I don't know. And then, like, all the stuff with, like, his wife and his Latin son was pretty pointless. The tone was weird, because occasionally it felt like it was supposed to be a kid's movie, and sometimes they were doing some, like...
Krampus gay rape scene.
Krampus gay rape scene, or Krampus talks about how he used to blow Sabrina the Teenage Witch's back out. And shit like that. And then, like, Santa Claus being a roid rage. J.K. Simmons has got ripped at some point, I guess. And they hired him to be ripped Santa Claus, who's lifting a bunch of weights with The Rock. And then, I don't know.
But
man.
he said he'd only appear in 15 minutes.
Creatures. I feel like the CG... I was like, wow, the CGI is pretty good. Because I thought this movie was like $100 million, but I think it would have been $100 million if they didn't hire all the actors they hired to try to sell this thing. Yeah, it was tremendously bad. It really was. It was definitely like an investment movie over even your standard investment, like, studio movie. Like, it was just like...
Yeah.
China wanting to have foreign interests, and The Rock was more than down to give his vanity another swing. I don't know how The Rock still gets paid to be in movies. He's fucking horrible in these movies.
Well, there's also like the infamous Rock contract where he's not allowed to lose, and no one's allowed to look tougher than him, and
yeah.
So you just get these tensionless cartoons where he runs around punching Krampus and...
Yeah, I don't think that contract has been changed since that kind of controversy or rumors started in like 2017, because it is now 2024, and at no point did I feel Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson was going to go through any hardship in the movie. I think at one point he gets punched by Krampus and he like falls down and he's like... I learned my mistakes, and he just starts pile driving the fuck out of Krampus. He's just beating the shit out of him.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was awful. Anyways, Aiden, would you recommend Schizo Santa 1 by The Rock and Chris Evans?
No, go watch The Holdovers. Connor, would you recommend Schizo Santa Red Edition?
No. That is a good point. I think probably this week or the week before in 2023 we watched The Holdovers, which was an amazing movie, but rather than The Holdovers this year we got Red One in its stead.
Yeah.
It's understudy, the Red One. We saw like a real movie. But like you look through the theater right now and it's like how many fucking real movies are even coming out, you know? I also like how this movie has to compete with Wicked next week, which has a fucking $1 billion marketing budget just because they want to beat Moana. And then Moana 2. The Rock is literally competing against The Rock to win Thanksgiving weekend.
Yep. With another family movie.
Rock's doing 2 family movies.
They have to compete against Wicked, and I don't think there's going to be a lot of crossover with Gladiator 2, but that's certainly not going to help Red One's appearances.
Moana and Wicked. Yeah, I think this is going to be a 1-week wonder. I don't think it's probably...
It's not even doing that well for the first week. I mean, it's doing okay, but...
It'd probably do okay.
I don't think it's going to make its $300 million budget back.
I think if they just made this movie and didn't grab The Rock and Chris Evans, like... I don't think it had to be The Rock and Chris Evans. I don't know how you sell this
shit without them,
Yeah, I guess you probably need someone... It's one of those concepts that's so fucking stupid that it only has legs if there's a star who's backing it. And you know Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson with his projects. Dwayne will see the stupidest fucking script fly across his desk and he's like, I want to make this one, and then it just kind of happens.
Yeah.
Because, I don't know.
Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson got paid $50 million and also cost the production $50 million in delays from pissing in bottles and showing up to set late every day.
Yeah. I mean,
And then the poor director had to go in interviews and defend him contractually.
They also probably had to pay additional money to Chris Evans to be like, he's a nice guy, you know. Bottle piss in his head. I also like how Dwayne admitted it, you know. Like, instead of everyone on the production just denying it, they were like, we're gonna come out and admit that it did happen.
It did happen. It wasn't that bad.
All of the major people who have any sort of platform that worked on the movie greatly apologize or forgive The Rock. You know, the intern who's on a salary of $40K a year. Sorry to them, but you know, they had fun times. You know, they got to eat sandwiches. Chris Evans sat in their trailer. They sat on a green screen in like Wuhan, you know. A hot green screen sweatshop studio in Wuhan while Dwayne was in his trailer or whatever.
Hi buddy, you're very needy today.
Yep. China really tries to make movies that appeal to themselves now, and for some reason The Rock is an actor that appeals to them.
You're a good boy. I don't know if this appeals to China. Do they have Christmas over there? I think they do like some other shit.
Yeah, but who fucking knows? China doesn't even really make sense.
Yeah, I mean,
because they like all their movies, like half their movies are fucking.
The greatest movie that China had ever seen was Transformers 4, which to be fair, based, but
I mean, they really like
retarded action movies.
pretty much.